Hey everyone, back tuning into today's video. We're going to have a look at whether it's 8 to 10 days. In today's video, we're going to be starting off on a very warm note today and tomorrow. The temperature will be sliding then as we go into the weekend and the start of next week. And it could turn quite chilly actually through next week, certainly down to near normal temperatures. And of course, at the start of November, near normal temperatures will be relatively cool, quite chilly. Perhaps nothing particularly cold coming up, but overall, I think a cooler week on the way for next week. Have a look at all the detail in a moment. Now, before I get on with that, just want to say about the ads. There's links to articles sitting underneath the web video here on my homepage at gazwebviz.com. Have a browse through widget. If there's any articles that you're interested in, just click through. You'll be able to go off and read those articles when you're done at the website, of course. At the same time, GazWebViz will get a royalty fee on what you're doing. There's an ad unit near the comment box, so if there's any ads there that you're interested in, again, just click through. There may be coloured words on some of the pages, right? You cursor over those coloured words to be able to display ads, but if you click through words, go to the advertiser's website. Again, you're paying to support GazWebViz. Thanks so much for doing that. Right, let's get on with the video. And, well, the central temperature for October, well above average. We're coming out provisionally up to yesterday at 12.3 degrees, which is an anomaly of 1.6 degrees above average. Another warmer than average month in this very warm year of 2014. Famously, I've explained it before in all the other videos, every month so far this year has come out warmer than average, except August, which was the coldest for 21 years. In the midst of all this warmth, we had the coldest August for 21 years as the remains of Hurricane Bertha blew through and really shook up the atmosphere, changed the pattern completely just for a few weeks, and then in September we reverted back to that very warm band. So October's coming out at 12.3, normally 1.6 degrees above average. It is a warm month, but not the warmest on record. We've had an incredible run of warm Octobers really since 1995. So last year, for instance, we get October 2013 coming out at 12.5 just there. This is the central temperature list from Hadley, by the way. This goes all the way back to 1659. You can find this on my links page. We have 2006 coming out at 13.0, 2005 coming out at 13.1. The warmest on record, 2001, comes out at 13.3, and then we go back to 1995, which comes out at 12.9, and that's really the year that started off this run of warm October. So we've been in now something like 20 years. Not every October's been warmer than average, of course. We did have a run of nearer normal Octobers there from 1997 through to the year 2000, some near normal Octobers there. But overall, we have had some very warm Octobers over the last few years. We'll be able to put 2014 in with that as well. It won't be the warmest on record. We won't get to 2001. May not even get into the top 10, but certainly a warm October by any means. And as I say, it just really goes along with all the other warm months that we've had this year. No month this year, it's very interesting, no month this year has been record breaking. No month has been the warmest on record, but there's been so many warm months, and all coming out around a degree and a half to 2 degrees above average, so somewhere between 1 and 2 degrees above average. All these months, month after month after month, is compiling to produce possibly the warmest year on record for 2014. Although, as I say, no month on its own has actually been a record breaker yet. We haven't broken any central temperature records with these months. It's just been the consistency of the warmth. Really, we'll see whether this changes for November, but it's going to have to change if we're going to avoid getting the warmest year since records began in 1659. So we're going to have to see how things play out. Now, very warm day coming up tomorrow. We could be up to 20, possibly 21 degrees on the 31st of October for some parts of southern England. That is around 70 Fahrenheit. It's around the average temperature that you would expect during the daytime in July, rather than the end of October. I wouldn't be at all surprised if we broke a date record tomorrow for the 31st of October. We'll have to see how that goes. But we'll certainly, if we don't break the record, we will certainly be very, very close to it. Going to be a really warm day for the time of year. But by the time we get through to next week, things will be a good deal cooler. These are the maximum daytime temperatures being forecast for next Wednesday, the 5th November, bonfire night. And then we're really struggling to get into double figures, just 10, 9, 10, 11 degrees. For most parts of the country. So quite a significant change in the weather is on the way once we get tomorrow's warmth out of the way. It'll be a gradual process over the weekend, but day by day I think we will start to turn things cooler over the weekend into the start of next week. These are the 500 millibar height anomaly flow charts from the PSU website. We've got the ECMWF here on the left, the GFS is over on the right. These are the mean flow charts for the next 8 to 10 days, so this will be taking us more or less up to around the 8th or 9th of November, so getting through into the second week of the month with these. We've got the blue colours indicating below average heights, low pressure, orange and red indicating above average heights, which is high pressure. They both agree that we've got a good deal of low pressure, good deal below average heights out in the Atlantic. And notice they're both building up this pretty strong area of above average heights to the east of the country, stretched out to the east of Scandinavia into western parts of Russia. This is quite interesting how this is building. It could be that this is a reflection of the very early snow cover that we've had across many parts of Russia. It does look as though the Russian high is is particularly strong this year because of that early snow cover that we've had building up across the Russian plain. I'll be talking about this much more in the winter update. If you're really interested in all this sort of stuff, I'll be talking about it in much more detail in the winter update on Sunday. But already we could be starting to see the first sort of evidence that high pressure is going to be stronger across parts of western Russia and Scandinavia this winter. But for us, for the next 8-10 days, we're generally bringing an Atlantic flow. They both agree on quite a strong jet stream coming into the British Isles. Both show that these tight lines running across the Atlantic. They come up against this ridge, and we're sort of getting a bit of a split in the jet stream occurring. So some of the energy is going to the north, and some of it is going to the south and forming this cut-off feature that they are both showing down over Spain and Portugal, a cut-off low going down there. Quite an interesting pattern that, although the actual weather is probably going to be quite dreary through next week. I think it's going to start off on an unsettled note, then it'll probably turn generally quite dreary, could be some mist and fog patches around, and pretty quiet weather potentially in the second half of next week. The GFS temperature and precipitation ensembles show how warm it is at the moment. The red line here is the 30-year temperature average, so we're going well above that over the next couple of days. Really warm weather. Get to the 1st of November, which is just here, and you see that the temperature ensembles are sliding then through the weekend start of next week. So by the time you get through to early next week, we're actually going a little bit below average, a little bit below the red line, the 30-year average. And then we sort of hover around the red line through the rest of the ensemble. No real indication that we're returning to the warmth that we've got at the moment. There are some outlier members that do get quite warm again through next week, but also there's some that go quite cold. So once you average it all out, we're probably sticking around the 30-year temperature average once this warm spell is out of the way. Now the rainfall spikes are coming back, so as we get through the weekend and into next week, we're bringing some wet weather in through the start of next week, between around the 3rd and the 5th, so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, could be quite a bit of rain. And then they're easing off. There are some spikes still coming through. You would expect that, of course, because it's November, it's an unsettled time of the year, but not as many as through that period from, say, around the 2nd, 3rd of November to around the 5th. So I think things could turn a little bit drier in the second half of next week. But a lot of uncertainty about this, I do have to say. You're going to see all the charts in a moment. There's a lot of uncertainty about weather for the last stage of next week. This is for GFS for the start of next week, and this is where we've got agreement amongst all miles. We've got an area of low pressure out to west of the country, so we'll be bringing bands of rain through over the weekend into next week. It will be unsettled. And if you follow the isobars back, they're going off into the northern part of the Atlantic, northern quadrant of the Atlantic, so that's bringing that cooler air in. As we go through to Tuesday, the 4th of November, the low pressure that sinks over the country, still bringing showers, maybe some longer spells of rain. The ice bars are opening up, so we're losing the wind, but it's pretty chilly air, so there could be some mist and fog by night, and maybe some touches of ground frost. Get through to Wednesday the 5th, bonfire night, about low pressure. Remember, it's cutting off down to the south, so there it is going down in southern parts of France and over Spain and Portugal. High pressure is trying to ridge in then, and notice the high pressure ridging from the Azores and trying to go up towards Scandinavia. Already perhaps signs that heights are trying to build to the east and the northeast of the country. Just not a particularly cold chart because there's no real cold air over the continent, but it's an interesting chart that should be starting to happen already this early in the winter season. So there's the high pressure ridging through. It means that things will probably turn quieter through the middle of next week. Fairly chilly. There could be some mist and fog and maybe some ground frost as well. Certainly a more seasonable feeling bonfire night, I think, or bonfire evening than we've been used to for quite some time. And as we go through to a week away, this is Thursday the 6th of November, the high pressure is up there over Scandinavia. The wind is generally from an easterly direction. It's going to bring in a lot of clag, I think, really. There's that cut-off low down to the south. So the energy is splitting. Some of the energy is going to the north of the high pressure over Scandinavia, these areas of low pressure up here. Some of it going south, pulling that cut off through the Mediterranean. But we're sort of under slack pressure gradients. It's going to be damp, dreary, not very inspiring. We're probably a lot of low cloud. There could be some mist and fog as well. Temperatures will be probably chilly by day, but not all that cold at night. And as we go through beyond that, getting through to day 10, which is Sunday the 9th of November, very little change really. Still the idea that pressure heights are rising to the north and the northeast, extending back into its main area of high pressure that's over southern parts of Russia. There's the cut-off low down over Spain, and Portugal's still there. This isn't cold, I have to emphasise, although we've got heights to the north and the east, it's not cold because the general flow is from a sort of southerly, southeasterly type direction. Just a lot of mist, a lot of low cloud, drizzly, sort of dreary type November weather with that. Nothing particularly cold coming up, but it's just a pattern that's interesting me really, because we've had this very early snow cover over Russia through this October, and we are already probably seeing evidence that heights are trying to rise more than you would expect across Scandinavia and backing into Russia. And when we get through to the winter, that because we've got much more cold air, of course, coming down into mid-latitudes, that sort of scenario, if the snow ever can get winds into the east and bring us colder weather, and it's just interesting me that that's beginning to already show up in these models. ECMWF for bonfire night, and there's the trough moving down across the country and cutting off to the south, the ridge going up to the north. Now the ECM is more unsettled actually, so although the ridge tries to build in through the second half of next week, settle things down, actually bring another area of low pressure through by Friday the 7th, that'll bring another band of rain across the country. But we may get 2 or 3 days of fine-ish weather next week, although with a lot of cloud, mist and murk. Get through to day 10, Sunday the 9th. It's a little bit different. High pressure is around the Azores, low pressure around Iceland, and we're bringing in this westerly flow. So a more unsettled solution really from the ECMWF. This morning I did say there is a bit of disagreement about the second half of next week. Having a look at the GEM, this is very stormy, this run. Here we are on bonfire night. We've got the deep area of low pressure developing in the Atlantic. Actually for bonfire night, a lot of quiet weather, and there could be some frost and fog by night and morning. But look what happens with this low pressure as we go through to Thursday the 6th, a very deep area of low pressure. I think the central pressure of that is 965 millibars coming right across the country, probably putting down a really quite cold northeasterly wind into Scotland as well, so showers could turn wintry over there. But that's very unsettled. There'd be lots of heavy rain with that, and no doubt severe gales on the southern side of that area of low pressure. Going through to Friday the 7th, and that low pressure is moving off in towards Germany, where winds are going into a northerly direction. It will certainly feel cold on that side. I think it's over the top. The GEM does have a tendency to sort of blow up low pressures more than they actually do. So I think that's over the top. But you just get the idea. There's a lot of uncertainty through the second half of next week. Whether that high pressure will get in as the GFS wants it to, or whether we'll stay generally quite unsettled. And talking of the GFS, finally we go as far as we can go with the GFS this morning to Saturday the 15th of November, middle of the month. And again, it's just that idea that the ridging is there through Scandinavia, backing into that big high pressure over Russia. There's no cold air really associated with that, just very dreary, misty, murky, sort of claggy type November weather. But it's the pattern that's interesting there, that already we are seeing, certainly with the GFS, signs that high pressure wants to sort of set itself up over Scandinavia and back into the main area of high pressure that's over the snow cover across Russia. And it's very interesting that already that is showing up. So we'll see how that goes. But as far as the next week to 10 days is concerned, well, we're going to lose the warmth, the extreme warmth that we've got today and tomorrow. Things will be getting more back towards where you expect them to be for early November. Going to be unsettled to start next week with showers along with spells of rain, much cooler temperatures as well. In the second half of the week, quite a bit of uncertainty. It could turn dry, misty, claggy type weather, or it may stay unsettled and become maybe even more wet and windy later on next week. So I'll keep you posted on how that one is working out. But the main thing to take from this is that the temperatures after the extreme warmth of today and tomorrow will be going back closer to normal. That's it for now. Thanks for watching.